Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Tom Froese. I'm an illustrator and top teacher on Skillshare, where I've helped over 100,000 students unlock the world of commercial illustration. Welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to do another I Read Your Comments episode. I did this a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. And today I'm feeling pretty casual and I don't feel like going on the script. So here we are. So the way this works is I'm just gonna open up my comments in YouTube Studio, which is kind of the back end of YouTube. And that's where I can see all your comments. And it just gives me a chance to personally respond to them, whether it's a question, whether it's some kind of generous compliment or something like that. It gives me a chance to respond to these more personally. And I like that always more than just hitting that thumbs up and commenting back with text. But speaking of thumbs up, if you can like this video, it helps the algorithm, helps the channel, and it's pretty much the best way to support me. And additionally, subscribing to the channel is just such a big support. So if you can hit that subscribe button, means a lot to me. Thank you. So before we get into it, I thought I'd just share with you kind of just what's going on, a little bit of, what's going on in this one illustrator's life. So nothing too crazy at the moment. It's, I guess, now mid-January at the time of this recording, and I've set all these lofty goals, and you can watch my video about that a few episodes back. It's where I do my annual report, sort of the review of 2021. And then in that video, I talk about some goals that I set for the year. In terms of actual illustration work, I was set to do a whole bunch of stuff like right off the bat, and it's just been crickets with my clients. So I don't know what's going on, but I haven't heard from them, and I'll be following up today just to say, hey, still waiting for the rest of this project. Are we doing it? So, I mean, the good thing is we've already started. We've already done a third of it. So it's not like the clients just ghosted me, but I think they've just been distracted. So anyway, that's just a reality that happens sometimes. And what else can I say? So another bit of news is that I just submitted some work into Commercial Arts Illustration Annual. And so we'll see how that goes. That's something I try to do every year. I think there's only been 1 year in the past decade or so that I haven't submitted something into this awards competition. So as always, I hope I win. And if I don't, then I don't. But the nice thing is when you get placed in these awards, it's just such good publicity. So it's worth the risk of not getting in. So I look forward to updating you on that and my thoughts, no matter what happens. And usually we find out sometime in February. I think that's usually how it works. Another thing that I've done, which is kind of scary for me, is I've applied to be a speaker at a local conference here in Vancouver. It's called Design Thinkers. It's held by the RGD, Registered Graphic Designers, which is kind of like the AIGA here in Canada. And so that is exciting for me because if I get in, I'll get to speak on a topic that's really near and dear to me right now, which is going to be the subject of my upcoming book, which is strategies to make work that you're actually good at. And I think this is such an important topic for creatives, especially illustrators, where we are constantly struggling to find work that we feel like we're a good fit for. And what we end up finding ourselves in is situations where we're being expected to be someone else, work in someone else's style. There's a lot of miscommunication between us and the client. And we show our work to the client. They seem like they want it changed a great deal more than we would have expected. And it seems that they're not really on the same page as us in terms of the creative vision. And that's a lot of what I mean about making work that you're actually good at. We want to feel good at the kind of work that we're doing. That's how we'll feel confident. That's how we'll enjoy our careers. And that's how we'll sustain our careers for the long term. And ultimately, that's how we I'll say it, this is how we are successful, is when there's this nice trifecta of feeling like we're good at what we do, our clients think we're good at what we do, and we actually enjoy it. So that's something that I'm hoping to be able to speak about in Vancouver in May. It's an in-person conference, which I'm super excited about. This will be the first time I think I'll have done any sort of live event, whether speaking or attending, for a good 2 years. Okay, so just one last thing. I just want to say that the Patreon community is still growing. We have over 30 members now, 30 patrons. And part of Patreon is the Discord server. I call it the Tom Froese Patrons and Pals Discord server. And that's kind of a way of extending the community beyond just patrons to everybody else. If you're watching this right now, you're invited to become a part of the Discord community. I'll leave a link in the video description. And basically, Discord is just like a chat or a forum based around communities, based around people who share an interest. And in our case, it's all of us, just we're passionate about illustration. And it's just a way of creating more of a sense of community. Like I like to say, these videos in this channel, this isn't a video channel, this is a community. And so I welcome you to go check out the Discord server, become a part of that. And every Monday from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, we do what I call a hangout. It's basically I ask a question, everybody kind of responds to it. It's kind of like a prompt, and we talk about a discussion topic. And it's just a way for us to get to know each other and share and stuff like that. But it is open 24/7. You can come to the server, and you guys are already talking amongst one another. It's lovely to see. It's nice that I can kind of stand back and watch a community grow around what we're all excited about, illustration. Now, before we get into the content, just a word from our sponsor, Astropad Studio. Astropad Studio turns your iPad into a completely customizable drawing tablet. The app mirrors your favorite desktop apps like Photoshop and Illustrator right on your iPad. The makers behind Astropad understand that no two artists are alike. That's why they packed Astropad with ways to customize every aspect of your workflow. They literally designed Astropad from the ground up for professional artists like you. Astropad also guarantees low latency performance, which means that what you're drawing on your iPad happens right away on your desktop. There's no lag, and this can happen over Wi-Fi, wirelessly, or with a USB cable. Astropad is a high-performance tool for the most demanding creative work. Today, Astropad is used by major animation studios and product design firms across the globe. So if you're ready to take your creative workflow to the next level, you can start your free 30-day trial of Astropad Studio today. Visit astropad.com to get started. Thank you, Astropad. I really appreciate your support. Okay, so let's get into some of the comments here. I'm opening my YouTube Studio. This is the back end of YouTube Studio, and I'll just go through your comments one by one, and I'll respond to the ones that kind of are calling out to me. This first comment is from Eleanor Lumsden. That came in today. She says, "Hi, Tom. I'm struggling a lot with my focus. I love animals, and a lot of my style is quite whimsical and childish. I don't know where to focus. I want to focus on eco things and animals as well as mental health, but I don't know what to do with that. Any help?" And I think she means, could I please help? And Eleanor, thank you for your comment and question. And yeah, I mean, finding your focus and knowing what exactly you're going to decide to do at the expense of all other things is a really hard thing to do for a lot of us. It is for me. I'm a terrible chooser. And what I do is I try to use strategies that help me eliminate anything that's a variable or anything that's a possibility and try and make something like the one thing that I focus on. Now, this is kind of a circular thing to say. What do I mean by that? So for instance, like every morning when I face the day, there's so many things that I want to do because I have my hand in a lot of pots and I'm very distractible. So I write a list of my priorities, and then those are the things that I do. I check one off and it's done, and then I move on to the next and move on to the next. So when it comes to choosing what to focus on as a subject of your illustration, first I would say just make the list and say, this is what I'm doing at the expense of all other things. And you've already done at least half of that. You love animals and you want to focus on animals and eco things. So maybe it's about getting more specific. So maybe what you could do is say, I'm going to focus on animals of this certain category, like woodland creatures, or maybe you're going to focus on just drawing plants if you want to do things kind of eco. And then when you say plants, it will be like tropical plants, or you know what I'm saying? You want to be more specific and make a list and commit to it. If that's not enough to help you kind of feel like you're being specific, I would bundle that with some other goal. Like maybe you want to get better at illustrating using a certain technique, like painting of some kind, or drawing with a pencil, or using Procreate. So bundle the goal of developing your illustration technique with the goal of focusing on a certain subject. So woodland creatures using Procreate. And then, of course, it will help you to be specific about how you'll go and do that. Make a game plan. So I would say maybe say February is the month, the next month coming up. You're going to do one animal a week, and then you're going to spend 10 minutes a day each week on a certain part of the process. I'm just kind of riffing here. Actually, the previous episode 90 here, I actually talk about how to set up a personal project or a daily project, actually. But in that, I give some tips about being specific, and I think you might find that helpful, Eleanor. So I hope that helps. I think I just want to encourage you. You're like so close. You already know what you want to focus on. So that is your focus. So I would just say, just be as specific as possible about a game plan of how you'll turn that focus into actual illustration and practice or sketching or whatever you want to do with that. So thank you for your comment and question there, Eleanor. Okay, so this is just a kind comment from Lydia Fedorova. She says, thank you, Tom. As always, very useful and amazingly structured information. I really appreciate that, Lydia. And that was on a video that I did half a lifetime ago called How to Set Your Prices for Beginners. I may have to revisit that video sometime to update it for the modern day. Okay, so the next question is from, I actually forgot to pop up my little screen here so you can see the questions I'm looking at. Here we go. That's better. So the next comment is from Davier Lorito. He says, thanks a lot, man. And that's in response to 3 tips for crushing your daily illustration project. Thanks for stopping by, Davier, and for your comment, for watching. I appreciate it. The next comment here comes from Lotta Ree, and I have to apologize if I'm butchering your names. I really hope I'm reading them well, but I hope you'll forgive me if I'm not. Lotta says, thank you. I've never seen a video before that answered so many questions at once. Perfect and entertaining. Greetings from Germany. So this one is in response to Photoshop versus Procreate for illustration. That's episode 88. And that's where I answer the question, which one should you focus on learning first? Why would you learn one over the other? Now, I know that a lot of people don't think that this is a fair comparison, Photoshop versus Procreate. Like some people see these as 2 distinct, very different approaches. It would be like comparing oil painting, and you might as well compare oil painting with Procreate or something like that. But the way I see it is you can use Photoshop or Procreate to illustrate the same kinds of illustration, provided you're using similar brushes and stylistic techniques. So these things are definitely comparable. And you all know that I mostly illustrate in Photoshop, and I use Procreate to do my sketching. So yeah, thank you, Lotta, for stopping by and for your comment. I appreciate it. I'm going to give you a little like for your comment there, of course. Okay, so the next comment comes from Maria Rodriguez, and she says, well done, you did well. The audience is really small. It'd be better to get more audience. It is more interesting to make video. I advise you, I'm getting an advice for a service here. Well, I'll just say thanks for the tips. And just in case she's actually a real person, it seems a bit spammy to me, but we'll move on. Catherine B says, thinking about projects as a gift is fantastic. This has really given me freedom. Thank you. And that's in response to a previous episode called 5 Reasons Why Personal Art Projects Are So Hard. So yeah, and that one, it's kind of like the previous episode that I did about doing daily projects. Personal art projects are so hard to do because you have to say, I'm doing this at the expense of all other things. And no one's asking you to do it, but you. And so one of my tips is to think about your project as a gift, something that you can, and it's like something that's from your heart and that you can give to others. So you can learn more about that in the actual episode, where I'll probably be a lot more eloquent about it. Next question or comment is from Zaru Sobaman. And they say, I can only draw or paint with reference, but when start to illustrating, I can't even make one. So thank you, Zeru. So thank you for your comment. Sorry, I can't say your name. Okay, so this one is in response to a video that I did a little while back called "What to Know Before You Get into Illustration." So I know a lot of people struggle with this problem where people can only draw or paint from reference, but it's hard to draw from imagination. This is one of this is our task as illustrators, is to be able to have a vision, an imagination, and draw from that. And, the reality is, for me, I often have to draw from reference first, and then I only after spending some time doing those things can I put those away, and then I have like actual content to work from in my mind. So, the first recommendation is, and a lot of you who see me do these videos, I'm going to say, you have observational mode and in ideational mode drawing. Start with observational mode drawing, draw from references without any goal of having ideas or an illustration. It's just about learning about the content, the subject that you want to draw about, and then put those away. And then from there, start trying to come up with ideas based on some of the visual information that you learned in observational mode. This is ideational mode. If you want to learn more about this approach, I talk about it the most in Drawing Toward Illustration, which is a Skillshare class. You can find that at tomfroese.com/teaching, little URL here for you guys. And yeah, I can't recommend this class more to you. It kind of is exactly what you're talking about. When you can only draw or paint from reference, but you want to actually learn how to illustrate from imagination, Drawing Toward Illustration is my best advice, all in one class format. So the next comment is from Daniel J. Illustrates. Cool last name. Daniel says, wow, some very helpful advice, a well-presented video. Daniel says this also in response to the same video, 5 things you need to do before even touching a pencil. I have lots of titles for that video, but yeah, what to know before you get into illustration. That video was my most popular video. I made it a couple years ago, and it's just like in the tens of thousands of views, and I have yet to see those kinds of views for any of my other videos. If anyone can tell me what magic I put into that video that I'm not putting into my other videos, I'd love to know. That was just like my viral sensation relative to my other videos, and I've been trying to chase that ever since. Okay, so the next comment comes from Renata McElveny, and Renata's definitely one of my Skillshare students. I've seen some of her projects up, so thank you for stopping by to say a comment on the channel. So Renata says, hi Tom, thank you for this video. It was very timely. I'm considering trying to decide whether to create new pieces for my portfolio or focusing on drawing something small daily. I feel like doing both because I'm ambitious, but I have the feeling I need to pick one and focus. So I appreciate the prompts you offered for reflection. Thank you for sharing the drawing challenge Instagram account. I was actually looking for something like this. So if you guys are looking for some drawing challenge prompts, like, the kind of thing like Inktober, there's lots of things like that. In my last video, episode 90, Daily Illustration Projects, in the video description, you'll find a link to that Instagram account that she's talking about, where there's all kinds of drawing challenge prompts. Super helpful if you're looking for that kind of a kickstart to your personal project. Catherine B responds to episode 87. You don't have to be a starving artist. She says, super wise as usual. I really appreciate that. I don't know if I could consider myself super wise, but I do appreciate the comment and that you watched the video. Thank you so much. The next comment is from Laura Sazdi, and she says, great and inspiring video. I think I'll start my own list of goals this year. This is such a great and useful idea. I wanted to take more of your classes on Skillshare, so that's definitely going on the list. So she's responding to my annual report that I did a couple episodes ago. And yeah, I highly recommend that if you're trying to grow as an illustrator, whether it's in the form of an annual report or a newsletter that you write to your followers, it's important to reflect on the progress you've made and to set new goals for where you want to go. I think If you ever feel lost in your growth, or like you're growing stagnant, or you don't know where you want to go, if you feel directionless, a lot of this might come from just not knowing where you are. And the best way to know where you are is by taking account of where you've been and taking stock of where you want to be in the future. And this, of course, creates what I would call a path. And there are all kinds of different ways to approach this, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It just could be saying, taking a Saturday morning over coffee, go to a cafe if you can, and bring a notebook or type it out on your computer, whatever you want to do. Start thinking about what you've done in the past period of time. A year is a nice chunk of time. And if you're drawing blanks, thinking what happened in the past year, break it down by month. Say what happened in January, what happened in February, or you can go backwards. What happened December, November, October? And if you still can't remember, what I do, if I can't remember what was happening in my life, I'll either go to my calendar and I'll look at the appointments that I had, and then it starts to jog memories for me about what I did and was doing at the time. Another thing that I'll do is just look at my inbox and see, what kind of emails were coming in December or whatever month it is. So very important to think about what happened and reflect and say, what was good about the past year, and maybe what was hard. What did I want to do? What did I actually do? And why didn't I accomplish all of my goals? Very important. It does take time, and it doesn't come as natural to everybody, but I do definitely recommend that. And then, of course, like I said, the other side of that is making sure that you set specific goals for the future. If you're looking for help setting goals, I have a book called, not my book, just a book on my shelf called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's a great book if you're looking for some motivation and tips for how to set yourself up for success when setting goals, New Year's resolutions, or just getting into better habits in your daily workflow. So yeah, thank you so much, Laura, for your comment. I appreciate you watching and being here on the channel. Okay, so this next comment is also in response to my annual report episode. It's from Alyssa Thaler, and she says, "Your videos are a life, Tom. I love your spontaneous, authentic videos as much as the more scripted ones. I love to see how your style has developed and changed this year. It's an amazing thing to see from such an accomplished illustrator. Everything already seemed perfect, but keeps getting better." Well, Alyssa, you are, I don't know if you can see, but I feel like I'm blushing. This is super generous, and I will humbly accept the compliment. Thank you so much. It means the world to me that people are getting something out of these videos, enough to say the kind of things you're saying. I make these videos not for me, but for you guys. Why would I spend, 3-4 hours a week developing content for YouTube and, much more time on my classes and all those other things if I didn't want to truly help you guys, succeed as commercial artists? That's what I'm here for, and I'm glad you're here. So thank you so much. The next comment is from Emery Janine Radam, and she says, "Hi, Tom. Your channel is a goldmine." Another really kind and I feel undeserved compliment, but thank you. "I really want to break into the illustration industry in the future. I'm currently pursuing an engineering license, but after getting it, I would want to change my career path and start building my portfolio." So thank you, Emery, for your comment. And this is actually in response to the last video where I read your comments. And, I have a very similar path to you. I started in computer engineering and then changed over into design. And that wasn't my plan at first. Like when I got into engineering, I wanted to get into engineering, but the moment I got into it, I realized I didn't want to be in it. And a few months later, fortunately, I stumbled upon graphic design as a thing, and I started obsessing about it. So as I was getting my engineering education, I was thinking somehow I have to finish this and do it because it's a sure thing for me. But I don't know what design holds for me. I don't know what the future is in that for me. So I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to do engineering, and then hopefully in the future I'll be able to bring something more, pursue a creative education, ultimately a career, and bring my engineering education into that somehow. It was a sort of I can't lose kind of mentality that I encourage anyone such as yourself to embrace. Like, be where you are if that feels right for you now. even if you want to get into illustration in the future, I would say it's good to dream, but it's also good to be grounded and know what you have now and not take that for granted and throw it all away. And I think one thing I'm saying is that, like, I'm better for having stuck through my engineering degree. For one, it made me better. It made me just better at following through with things. I say I'll do something, I stick to it, and I get it done all the way. And I think it's good to practice this, whether in small things or big things. When you set out to do something, stick to it and follow through all the way to the end if you're able to. There has to be a good reason to jump ship, I think. And that's one thing I couldn't find when I was in engineering, was like this. I didn't have a clear conviction or a clear signal that jumping ship from the engineering was a good idea. So I stuck with it. And all the while I had the mentality that, like, this is going to help me in the future anyway. That was the other side of what I'm saying. And to this day, I think what I learned in engineering, which was computer engineering specifically, I actually use a lot of that thinking in not only how I approach my art, but how I approach the process around it. And so I'm very systematic. I'm very analytical. I think in terms of like almost like programming, like procedures, like I do this, then this, then this, algorithms. And so all that kind of thinking really gives a lot of structure to what I do today. But I'd say congratulations on discovering illustration. And I'm glad you have that spark, that dream that you want to follow. And I would say, if at all possible, see how you can blend engineering with illustration to really not just get into illustration, but to have something that's greater than the sum of both the things that you're going to be able to do, engineering and illustration. So thanks, E-Marie, for your comment. I really appreciate it. Okay, I have time just to read one more comment today, and then I gotta get on to other things. But this next comment is from Lydia Fedorova, and thank you again for another comment, Lydia. She says, "Big thank you, Tom, for helping in the start of my illustration career. It was very insightful and clear." And this is in response to episode 77, 14 mistakes illustrators make when working with clients. So I appreciate the compliment again, Lydia. Thank you very much. And man, it means the world to me to know that I am part of the beginning of people's illustration careers. It means a lot to me. So thank you for letting me know. Super encouraging. It's just one more reason for me to keep going and showing up here on the channel. Okay, so maybe I'll wrap up with one more comment from Taylor DeBeer. And Taylor says, in response to my annual report episode, she says, "I love the pencil as a 1. Now you'll have to watch the episode to kind of know why she said that. But she says, "Very nice hearing your recap and seeing how it can be unrealistic to achieve every goal someone sets for themselves. There's still so much to celebrate in the small victories. Well done on all your achievements. And I hope the new year brings you closer to your new goals." Thank you so much, Taylor, for that. And I wish the same for you. I wish that, and I hope that you and everyone here watching has a wonderful start to the year, wonderful full year, all the way through to December. Let's all hope that 2022 is a much better one for all of us in the last couple of years, right? But yeah, that is truly all the time I have today. But I love reading your comments and being able to respond to them. Thank you so much for your comments. Keep them coming in. You say these things and it feels I'm almost embarrassed to read some of these out loud because of how kind and over the top they seem to me. But at the same time, these are the things that encourage me to keep going and let me know that these videos are truly helping, that they're truly making a difference. And why else should I spend any time at all doing this? This isn't just about me. It's about you guys. And I like to hear from you guys. This is a community. I like hearing from you. If you want to become more a part of this community, I invite you to join us on the Tom Froese Patrons and Pals Discord server. There's a link in the video description, and it's open to all. And if you want to kind of dive deeper into the community and have a more direct experience, even the possibility of chatting with me regularly in coaching style video chats, you can find out more about that on patreon.com/Tom Froese. So anyway, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.